Hey guys, how you doing? Ray here again. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, it's Nitro Kyosho. Well, today we're going to have another installment on these computer-controlled radios for helicopters, airplanes. I've already put one out. I've actually put a couple out. One for the Throttle Curves, one for the Swash Mix menus, and I believe I put another one out also. So take a look at those. Like I said, I broke these down into segments, guys, because it would take too long to go through one of these radios. So we're going to try to go through this quickly for you so you can get an understanding. Today what we're going to be talking about is pitch curves. So let's get started. Now guys, having these radios set up properly is going to be half of the battle, if not more. Because if the radio is not set up properly, your helicopter is not going to obviously fly right, or your airplane. This is primarily going to be about helicopters, but either or, it's not going to perform the way you want, and you can end up having a lot of problems. So you have different sections in these radios, guys. Now, in here, let me turn this on quickly. I have some graphs drawn up here for you. Today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the pitch curves. Now, the pitch curves have to correspond with the throttle curves to have pretty good success. Now, you have in your radio, most of these Spectrum type radios are going to be set up similar. So you're going to have your normal pitch curve, you're going to have your stunt, you switch pitch curve, and you're going to have what's called hold. So the normal one, let me just double check, okay. Where is my normal pitch curve here? Now these are going to change a little bit, guys. This is going to, I'm showing you, going to show you a basic for the normal pitch curve, what it's going to look like. Okay. Now, I'll show you this again, but you're going to have still, we talked about the way the throttle works on these guys, okay? You have your low stick. I talked about in the other video, you have your low stick, your quarter stick, your 50% mid stick, 3/4 of the way, 75%, and high stick. Okay, so have a knowledge of that before we start discussing this. Now, a normal pitch curve, guys, can be set up. Mine I have set up at low stick, and now this is going to be in the normal mode. Low stick, some guys will do 0. Actually, you know what, to make it easier for you, I'm going to call it low stick, position 2, position 3, position 4, high stick, so you don't get confused. And position 2 would represent 1/4 of the way, position 3 would be mid stick, and 3/4 would be position 4, and then high. So we're gonna call them position 1, 2, position low, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 high, like that. Try to make it a little bit easier. So it's 5 points. Now, some guys have it set at low, 0. Okay, at position 2 they have it set basically at 25, mid at 50%, and position 4 would be 75, and then the high stick would be 100. So basically, showing you on here, you know, it's the same principle: 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. I have mine tweaked a little bit differently. The settings, this is what I gave you here, guys, is a basic setting: 0, 25, 50, 75, 100 for a normal pitch curve setting. Now mine personally, my low stick is set to 30%. My position 2 is set to 42%. My position 3 is still at 50, and then position 4 at 75, and then 100. Let me get up and show you this graph, guys, so you get an understanding. Let me get the camera here and show you how it works. Okay, so this would be dead stick low. Alright, this would be a position 2, or a quarter of the way there. Picture it as a gas pedal, guys. Position 3, okay, is set at 50%. Position 4, which would be 3/4 of your gas pedal on your car pressed down, 3/4 of the throttle, is set at 75, and then full high stick, which would mean your gas pedal would be floored, would be at 100% power. Now I have mine, like I said, set to 30, 42, left that at 50, left this at 75, and that at 100. That is a regular pitch curve, a normal pitch curve, which it would be called, in your settings, it would be called normal pitch curve. So I showed you that graph, guys. Now let's go to the next one that would be in there, which is going to be the stunt, your idle up. That's when you hit the idle up switch, you go into increased head speed, and now you have the ability to go upside down. Let me show you this up close here. Now this would be your second pitch curve, the stunt one, idle up. Okay, it's going to say stunt in the radio. And it's showing you down here, again, your 5 points on your throttle: 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. Okay, now mine is set like this. Okay, and I'll give you the settings out of the radio in a second. But basically, when you're in the stunt mode, guys, okay, at mid-stick, now idle up is different than general flying. Once you hit that idle up switch, it's a whole nother ball game. You want 0 degrees pitch of your blades at 50% throttle, okay? And the reason you want 0 pitch is because now it's got to go 10, depending what kind of a system you have, plus 10 degrees negative or minus, excuse me, this is supposed to be minus 10 down here. This is going to be your minus down at low stick. So, for example, my T-Rex 500, I have minus 12 degrees pitch, and I have positive 12 degrees pitch, and 0 when the blades are at 50%. That way it has equal throw both ways. Let me sit down and see if I can explain that a little bit better. Let me grab a set of blades. Got a set of blades here, guys. Give you a little bit more understanding of how this works. Then we'll go into the radio. So, you're basically in a normal flying situation. Okay, when you start out, your blades are going to usually start, you're going to be at low stick, probably about, you're going to have about 0% pitch on them. Okay, and then as you start to throttle up, let me just use one blades and get the controller here. As you start to throttle up and you get to about 50% on your throttle, you're going to start to achieve liftoff. At that point, your blade should have about positive 5 degrees pitch. And then as you go all the way up to high stick, it's going to increase to another 5 to about 10. This is going to vary depending on what kind of helicopter you're using, guys. Look at your guide at what they recommend as far as your pitch. If it's 10 degrees, 12, okay. Now, that is the normal mode. Now, picture you're in your normal mode, You're at 50% throttle, you're hovering in the air, okay? And now you hit your idle up, okay? Now the helicopter is going to still have, it's going to have the go to, whether you're having 10 or 12 positive degrees, it's still going to have the ability to reach that positive. But now, when you go full negative on the stick, the blade is going to go the other way. And it should be able to go equal positive 12, 0, and then all the way full negative, it should have the same negative pitch. So it should have 12 degrees positive and 12 degrees negative. That's how that works. That only works when it's in the idle up mode, guys. Okay? Therefore, if you flipped over your RC helicopter with your normal 12 degrees pitch and you flipped it upside down and you tried to hover it upside down, it's not going to hover upside down. It's just going to come down and it's going to hit the ground. It might stay up there for a couple seconds, but as soon as you start messing with the throttle, it's just going to descend. So, that's a little bit of how that works, guys. The idle up, okay, and we're going to talk, I already did a section on throttle curves because I wanted to keep this stuff separate, guys, but I'm going to have to bring this in to show you an example here. Now, this is the graph. Let me show you, get up again and show you this so we can get it up close and personal here. This is what I was talking about, guys. This is your stunt idle up. Okay. You can see 0 degrees at 50% and then a positive 12 degrees and then down at low stick a minus 12. Now this has to correspond, guys. Your throttle curves have to be set in the stunt section to match what you're doing with that. This is what my throttle curves in the stunt idle up mode look like. This would be, once you activate that switch, guys, now you have 100% power at low stick. You have 100% power at full stick. Okay, at a quarter stick, which would normally be 25, position 2, I'm running 95% power. At mid stick, I'm running 90% power. At 3/4 throttle, it's 95. And this is what gives you that ability, guys, to be able to go up and down, dance upside down, and so forth. Okay? These have to correspond with each other. That's why you have two settings. We're going to talk about that a little bit further. Let's sit back down here. You have in your radio, guys, turn this guy on. Now you go down, you're going to have your two different settings. Okay, you have a section called Throttle Curves, which is going to give you, actually it's easier just to say, it's going to have 3 sections in there, guys, and maybe I can show you with the camera if we can pick up the screen on the radio here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, we could try to get it in there for you the best we can. I'm working by myself here, guys, so bear with me. So you have the first one is normal, stunt, if you can see that, and hold. So it's normal, stunt, and hold. Now, let me show you this. We go to the pitch curve section of the radio, and you'll notice you have the same setup. Okay, normal, stunt, hold. I apologize if you can't see it. I'm trying the best I can, guys. So let me sit back down now. Enough of running back and forth. So you have 2 sections in the radio, guys, which I showed you these graphs. You have your pitch curves and your throttle curves, which really you want them to correspond with each other. Now I'll read mine off to you quickly here. Now my pitch curves, if you want to go off what I'm using, pitch curve section, normal mode. Low stick, 30%. Position 2, 42%. Position 3, 50%. Position 4, 75%. High stick at 100. That's it for the normal part of the pitch curves. Now we're going to go to the stunt. Okay. My pitch curve in the stunt is set at 0%. At position 2, it is set at 25%. Position 3 at 50. Position 4 at 75. High stick at 100. That was for the stunt mode of the pitch curves. Now we go to the hold section. Okay. In the hold section, low stick is 0. Position 2 is 25. Position 3 is 50. Position 4 is 75. And then 100. Now we'll go to the throttle curves. Okay. Throttle curves, you're going to have the same setup, guys. You're going to have normal, stunt, and hold. I'll give you mine, what I have, if you want to go off of mine. Low stick in normal throttle curve is 0. Position 2, 50%. Position 3, 70%. Position 4, 85%. And high stick is at 100. Okay, that was throttle curves, normal setting. Now we're going to go to throttle curves, stunt setting. Okay. My stunt, like I said, low stick is 100%, which would represent dead low. Position 2, which is normally a quarter, is set at 95%. Position 3 is at 90%. Position 4, which would be 3/4 of the throttle, is set at 95. And then the last one is set at 100. So, you have 3 sections in both, guys. In your throttle curve, you have your normal, your stunt, and your hold. In your pitch curves, you have your normal, stunt, and hold. Okay. Now, let me just switch here something. And we'll continue. Let me just see if I got one more piece of information here for you guys. Okay. Anyways, I was just double checking something. So remember, guys, you have 3 different sections listed under throttle, and you have 3 under pitch. Okay. And just to go over to recap, in your normal mode, you're starting up the helicopter. It should have no really negative pitch on the blade, and it really shouldn't have any kind of a positive pitch at low stick, because if it did, it would start lifting off the ground right away. As the blade starts to pitch, that's what achieves liftoff, guys. When these blades are twisting like that, when they twist, negative, positive, okay, that's what's giving you the lift. So, normal mode, okay, your blade is about at 0, and it's going to start to increase. By the time you get to about mid-stick, you're getting about 5 degrees roughly of pitch, and you start to achieve liftoff. And then if you blasted at the full throttle, it would go all the way to your whatever your pitch is maxed out at, if it's 10 or 12 positive. Remember, one key to setting up an RC helicopter, guys. whenever you're setting it up to begin with, and you got your 3 cyclic servos on there, you want those at 90 degrees, which the horn would be straight out like this. And then the horn has the ability to go both ways, equal traveling distance. Because when your swash plate needs to go up 12 and plus 12 and minus 12, those servo arms have to be able to reach both ways, guys. So when you're setting an RC helicopter up, the proper way to set it up, obviously have your motor unplugged whenever you're doing setup, because there's no reason to have a motor plugged in. If you're using a nitro, this doesn't apply to you. So you always set it at 50% and go into your pitch curves to make sure that the graph is showing you 50%. Don't always go by where the stick is, because these aren't always 100% accurate where they're at in the middle. Once you get that at 50%, guys, you hit your idle up. Okay, when you hit that idle up and your servos are at 90, they shouldn't twitch or move at all until you move the stick. That's the proper way to set up a helicopter, guys. Always remember, have those servo horns have to be 90 degrees. This has to be at mid-stick, 50% throttle, and your idle up switch has to be on. And that is going to give you the proper way to set up a helicopter. So at mid-stick, idle up, 0. And then you go positive, 12. Okay, and then it's going to have the ability, those servos are going to have the ability to bring these blades to a negative 12. You need negative pitch to be able to fly upside down, guys. Okay? If you don't have any negative pitch, the helicopter is just going to fall to the ground. And like I said in the other video, you see that the blade, okay, this is a picture of the helicopter flying upright, normal mode. Okay, the blade is like this. Okay, and then when you give it negative pitch, okay, the helicopter, remember this is negative pitch. Okay, look at the way this is. That's negative, full negative. Now, if the helicopter is upside down and you have negative pitch, what's it going to look like? So here we go. You have it like this. Helicopter's flipping, okay, upside down. Now the helicopter's upside down, but the blades are tricked into believing now the blades are showing the pitch to keep it up in the air. If the helicopter is upside down and the blade was like, it has to be like that, okay? It's just changing the pitch, guys. You're just going simply positive, negative, positive, negative. So right now it's at negative, the helicopter flips upside down. Okay, that's the simplest way really to explain that. So when you're setting that helicopter up, and you have your stick like this, guys, and it's at 0, the pitch on the blade is set at 0, you're in idle up, and you're at 50% throttle. You should be able to go 100% high stick and get your 10 or 12 positive, and then when you return back to mid stick, 0, and then when you drop it to full negative, which would be off, the off position, the stick is at dead, then you should have the same pitch. So it should be able to go this way and that way. That's why, guys, it is so important to have that at 50% throttle and idle up when you set up your servos initially. That gives the servo the travel to go one way and go the other way, the same distance. Okay? I hope that this helps you guys out understand this stuff a little bit better. It can be a little confusing, but if somebody, hopefully I've explained it to you enough where you get an idea. And like I said, these are, you can start with these kind of pitch curves. This is a basic setup. 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. As far as the stunt, that's basically, I'll just show you this graph one more time. In the stunt mode is what we were just discussing. Okay, This would represent your throttle at mid-stick. You're in the idle up mode, and your servo has the ability to travel all the way down and all the way up. Okay, down, up. That's what's giving you the ability to get equal distance, minus 12 degrees pitch, and be able to travel the other way, the equal distance, to reach positive 12. Okay? It needs to be able to go equal distance both ways in idle up. That's why you always, like I said, you always set up the helicopter. Whenever you're setting a helicopter up, guys, and I can't stress that enough, always do what I said. Have it at mid-stick, okay, idle up, and make sure those servos are dead 90 degrees and they have the ability to go full equal travel both ways. Okay, and I hope that this wasn't confusing for you guys. I try to explain things in simple layman's terms as easy as I can to give people an understanding of how it works. And I hope that this video helped you out. I try to do my best for you guys to help people stay with this hobby. I don't like when people give up on the hobby. I think it's a wonderful hobby, and it can be very confusing. I had to learn probably 90% of my stuff the hard way, trial and error, coming up through the ranks of doing this stuff. I had a little help here and there, but for the most part I did a lot of it on my own, and it can be a lot of stress on you, and it can make you give up and want to give up. There's a lot of good people out there on YouTube that really have a passion for helping people. One of them is my friend Freddie. Freddie Can Fly. He's a real good guy. He's got a passion for helping people like I do, and he wants to keep people in this hobby too. So I hope this helped you. If you'd like to subscribe, it's Nitro Kyosho. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a line. Thanks for watching.